Hi, my name is Jessica Gomez, and I'm in the class of 2025. I have a major in creative writing, specifically nonfiction, and a minor in journalism. And this past spring, I interned at Spoon University. It's an online food-based magazine targeted towards Gen Z and college students, and that company is kind of an offshoot of Her Campus Media. My official title was Editorial Intern, so I worked on editorial content and content creation for Spoon, and I worked directly under the managing editor. I found my internship on Handshake, as many Emerson students do. I was applying to a lot of internships that had pretty much anything to do with writing, anywhere I could be creating content, whether it would be like a publishing group or a magazine, even some copywriting things with marketing. And I had an interview with Spoon that went really well, and I was moved on to the next round where I was given an edit test, which is basically like trying out the internship and seeing how I could form in the skills that I would be doing every day. I remember I was given a week to complete the test, and I did it in probably 3 days because I was just having so much fun doing it. I never realized how much I loved writing about food. And so once I got that back and received an offer, I was super excited to start. And yeah. I worked directly under Spoon's managing editor, Felicia Lalomia, and she was absolutely amazing. Every day I would log on, do some research around like TikTok or just Googling things, other food websites, see what they were writing about, and find things that were trending or unique stories, new products coming out. Or Felicia would have something for me and ask me if I wanted to write about it, but if not, I would come up with 2 or 3 pitches that I felt like I could write about, send them to Felicia, and then she would pick them, or pick one, and then I would write it up. She would, edit it, and then I would get it into our backend website and publish it pretty much the same day. Sometimes, it would be scheduled for the weekend or something like that when they didn't have writers on. And then if I had spare time in my workday, I would work on some long-form feature stories that I had, whether it be like an interview or I wrote a couple of like more personal, long-form pieces. So I was pretty much turning something around every day, and then if not, I was also working on some things that were coming in the future. My favorite part about my internship was feeling like I knew what I was talking about, because it was a magazine targeted towards college kids, and I'm a college student. I also just realized how much I loved writing about food, and I hope that that's a niche I can get to in the future. And I'm super happy to have found that little kind of perk of the writing world that suits me. My favorite project I probably worked on, I did one that was an Asian American Pacific Islanders Month feature that was about the lack of Filipino restaurants in the United States, and how it's kind of disproportionate to the number of Filipino people there are. And I interviewed a couple of restaurant owners in Boston. There's 1 or 2 Filipino restaurants in Boston, and I contacted them, and those interviews were super cool. Got to talk to them a lot about Filipino food, got to try their food. And I just love that I was also able to do something with my heritage. I'm Filipino, and just kind of promote the food of my culture. And taking feedback is definitely important. I took feedback pretty much every day. Some days I wasn't able to turn around a piece in the same day, just because it went through a lot of changes, a lot of feedback, a lot of criticisms that I had to work out. But it always worked out in the end. So also understanding that good writing takes time, and your piece is going to look a lot different than maybe it started as. Another thing is to really learn how to adjust your tone and your style of writing specific to your audience, especially with a magazine like this that has such a kind of niche audience. You have to know kind of what works, even though it's not your favorite thing in the world. There is a specific style that goes into writing to college students. It's going to be a little bit different than those New York Times cooking or whatever. So that was definitely something I learned to adjust to, and it's a good skill that I'm happy to take to my future. One thing that I wish I knew coming into it, but that I'm really glad to have learned, and I think I learned quickly, was that you're not always going to get to write about what you want to write about. Sometimes your editor just sees things in a bigger picture. They have a lot of experience, of course, and there were days where I would send my editor 3 pitches, but I'd have kind of an emotional tie to one of them, and it wouldn't get picked. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches. Maybe you can pitch it again with a little bit of a spin to it. But kind of have to, let your emotions aside a little bit and just kind of do the job at hand.